opening the borders. He did it and lost. That's democracy. But Jamie Raskin doesn't like that and says if foreign leaders work with the president who wins in the landslide, Democrats are going to punish him. If and when we come back to power, and we will, we are not going to look kindly upon people who facilitated, to use the word of the day, who facilitated authoritarianism in our country. Democrats say Trump's a dictator, and now they're saying, just wait until they get back in power? I'm confused. They can't even get their hopes straight. Every morning in Maryland says El Salvador can keep this guy. He was living in Maryland, designated MS-13 terrorist, and Donald Trump deported him. How does that make you feel?
I'm glad you want to hit the cartel again. I wonder if it keeps them awake at night.
It doesn't.
Knowing you might reappear
I mean, that's it.
to
When he was
diligently
father.
fuck their shit up.
But he's still a terrorist.
There's children. There's children living with them while man. Should have been treated so people to be in church instead of worrying about his children.
The Democrats, they won't him back. They say he's wrongfully deported. He has a wife and a kid and a citizen. They're hoping this new emergency. It's an actual emergency. I don't know about that emergency. I don't know. They focus pride. I just found out. So it's what kind of LSPD privileges,
accessing their database,
he was accused of hitting his wife twice and was a suspected human smuggler. Was he wrongfully deported? No. They need to go. Being a smuggler, yeah.
It's better to be safe than strong.
Your senator gave a first spin compliment. He flew to El Salvador where this guy was deported. He met with them, had lunch with them, had margaritas on the table. What's up with the senator? I have no idea, but I do believe that's with taxpayer dollars.
locate just like last time. Locate the C's and all funds on the premises. Keep your wits about you. I wouldn't be surprised if the police listened to his security after the last visit. Their home team stay safe.
He went to El Salvador. Oh, it's another country, excuse. What has Senator Chris Van Hollen ever done for you?
Nothing.
Nothing. For me? Nothing.
Nothing.
Even me, I can admit that. I've never even heard of this person. Do you want Kilmar Rayo Garcia, this quote-unquote Maryland dad living back in Maryland? No. No.
No.
Not be doing church. Who wants somebody like this back? No. What is the accent to the Democrats who really want him back in your community? Why would you want that? Bring it to your community, see how long you like it dead legal, so y'all go over there with it. You're focused on the wrong thing.
As we say in LSPD, just seizing illicit goods.
Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House. All right, Speaker, in your illustrious career, have you ever witnessed a time where the Democratic Party has dug in so deeply and so thoroughly on an issue that's such a loser? I can't think of any other time.
Look, this is so bad. And it's funny. I mean, these guys have lost their minds. They've lost the defense. You know, how often we've been upset about Americans who don't do violence? Never. How people are concerned about the family division of one never. Where's the outrage? It's sudden. It's found with sympathy. Look, I've been a long time. I deal with a lot of Democrats. I have never seen the Democratic Party this deranged. I mean, if you watch them, it's like they're looking around trying to find the weirdest, strangest things they can be for. And they're out there, you know, I mean, give me a chance to be for male sports. Give me a chance to be for the most radical possible position on the legal university. Give me a chance to go out there and stand firmly for a whole series of ideas that nobody else can have for once. I mean, this is really remarkable, and it's almost like the party lost its head.
Are they doing this because Trump is supporting this guy? I mean, if any other president were getting rid of guys like this, they probably wouldn't say anything. They definitely wouldn't feel to have more freedom outside here. Is it just derangement syndrome here?
I mean, part of it, to be fair, is the President Trump is probably the best modern politician at getting in the front of the screwed up. You know, some man, I don't know how he does it, but he does it to us. If I do X, you can jump off the cliff. It looks like an idiot. So, every day morning or something, oh, dear, I think I'll preach something that guarantees that we play. And I would say, 4 times out of 5, it works. And they go through things that are totally stupid. And they don't seem to get it. This is one of the reasons that the football team, remember, just on the
You
school
think they've added
football
extra
tonight.
security
And
measures since
this
last
is
time?
embarrassingly
I
bad.
suppose we'll
And they
find
don't
out, huh?
seem to be able
Time
to
to
make a
liberate
grip
some
on the stuff.
nefarious
In fact, I
assets.
suspect they get to know all the governors, they're a lot of them, hanging out, and they go, God, man, you're so courageous. We're so glad you're going out there making a fool of yourself. I can't figure out any other sociological explanation of this level of insanity. Maybe they should stop drinking the donor and hit the streets like Johnny here from the people really. That'd be a step in the right direction. Come to a party, to a party, maybe I'll just relax, get up and alcohol, take a couple of folks, just going out there and relax with a baby. It's all
Word
going to be
spreads
so
fast.
good.
These miscreants are expecting you.
Maybe that explains it. Speaker, thank you so much. Thank you. Kamala Harris and bribery. Right back. Every time we think Democrats hit rock bottom, they go lower. A new Gallup poll shows only 25% of people have confidence in Democrat leadership. An all-time low. They've lost their touch. The hosts aren't speaking, and the media is dead.
I think the message the Georgia Democratic is a good message. The problem with that, is that we have to depend upon the media to deliver it. You've got people saying we're not going to check the fact check. We're not going to worry about whether or not you're telling the truth. That is that. Things go out there. That's what's killing us as Democrats.
There's no Democrat media machine without the media. They're out of weapons.
We're not part of the
This
movie,
stuff
but it's a
isn't in
gunfight.
circulation.
And the guy, and then click. There's more bullets in the gun. We have no power.
Democrats are in such a bad spot. Charlie Kirk and Bill Maher found something to agree on.
When you spoke against the woke, that for me was a proving moment. And I have to say something, and this is 100% true. You had more moral courage than pastors that I know that went along with that crazy train. And you deserve credit for that because it was a high cost.
Until we get rid of that, you're never going to win another election.
I agree.
The Republicans do your campaign so hard, you united the country. We're finding out where sometimes $2 billion. Kamala paid LeBron James 50 grand after he endorsed her. You got ripped off. Look what got him going. Kamala sent her donors money to her billionaire friends. But the problem with the Democrats is they operate in the shadows. When they mess up, they don't admit it. They just knife each other in the dark. They never talked about Biden's health until he got good. Senator Liz Warren spit all admit she lied. Why?
Do you regret saying that President Biden had the 2 years sharpness to him? He said that up until July of last year. I said what I believed to be true, and he was as sharp as you. I said I had not seen the climb.
Lying there, bitch.
And that he was on his feet.
Yeah, stop lying.
I had meetings with him a couple of times that are on his feet. It's not face. He can speak in sentences. Is not right.
But this picture out here, something doesn't look very good. Everybody's right. Why give full
Okay,
freedom?
just like last time.
What's
Locate
not a
the seeds
photograph? Is
and
she okay?
all
If
funds
something
on the
happened to Joe?
premises. Keep your wits about
This
you,
is
though.
what Finley
I
Fox
wouldn't be
at the
surprised
DNC
if they
gave
made
on
some
wants
improvements
fresh
to their
blood. But
security
the old
after your
guard is
last
going down
visit.
easy. Garble calling the squirrel. Now Hog wants to rumble.
It's in a politics of being pivot and fighting. I will need fighting. Again, something that I, as Margot repeatedly promotes, not to mention the fact that frankly he has not won an elections before I was born. I think it's time for some new voices on our part.
AMC takes this as their time. Johnny, she's been rallying big crowds across the country with bird dogs.
But not every Democrat's aroused.
It's not about the crowds that come out to you when you're talking on the festival or wherever they are. It's who shows up at the election day. And I just don't see that's the big deal. You don't really think ARP people would care about the
You know, I go, no, it's like it's not my job to get the community to some day. It's not. Yes. Dan Turcotte, the former Democrat advisor and co-host of the morning meeting. All right, Dan, so usually Democrats operate in a box. They have the message on point, they have plans, what they're going to say. Now it's just like a circular firing squad. What happened?
Well, right now we have two problems with our leadership. One, they are weak and wimpy. Say what you want about Donald Trump. It is fight, fight, fight. And our leaders are often telling you why we can't do something. The second problem is when we do take action, it shoots first, and then it's like, what's the strategy? Rather than talking about the economy, we're now talking about Mr. Garcia. We have a conservative Supreme Court that said 9-0 the guy should come back. The administration said it was an error. But what are we doing? We're making the guy out to be Lord Cleaver. We're out there, talking about the guy who is an illegal immigrant, who has beat his life, it sounds like. And we're arguing over whether or not it's
He used to say now, you great looking logos. And ready to lose the hat and regrow the hair?
MS-13 instead of talking about safer terrain like the economy and tariffs.
So usually if it says MS-13 tattooed on your knuckles, my hunch is he's a gang member. Liz Warren, she was on the podcast. That's why Democrats love the podcast. I understand what wrong. The guy was like, are you serious? You think Biden was okay because he was standing on 2 feet? That shows some vulnerability.
Well, it's going to be a question that everyone is going to keep asking. We get Joe Biden going out last week and speaking. She's going to remind everybody about what happened when he was in power. Elizabeth Warren, I mean, I haven't seen that until just now. The fact that she's laughing, she's cringing, she's hesitating. If Elizabeth Warren is struggling to answer the question, imagine, what someone like Josh Shapiro is going to do.
Finally, he says the Democrats have a great message. They just can't rely on the media anymore to get the message out. Does that sit right with you?
No, it's ridiculous. I mean, the problem is we don't have leadership. Back in the day, Nancy Pelosi would get everybody in a room, and we would map out for the next weeks what's coming down the pipe. Who is our best speaker? Who are the real Americans that will tell a story that personify what we want to say? I give Donald Trump and his team all the credit. They are masters at telling stories. Instead, we just scream why everything is terrible and why it can't be Donald Trump that's doing something right.
So you used to have a real operation. Nancy would get the crew together with a calendar.
Yep.
Would say this is Easter, and then go on vacation, and then we're going to get the job report on Friday, and then see game plan it all out. Pick the speakers, pick the real Americans to tell the story, and that doesn't happen anymore.
No, I mean, right now, there is just no long-term planning right now. It's basically, look, we went into the President's State of the Union address. What did King Jeffrey tell me? He said, be respectful. We got outbreathed, right? We got people screaming in the chamber. There's no fear.
Nancy would have taken Green's cane and just hit him in the knees.
They were afraid of him. We all,
even you.
yes.
Oh, I shouldn't admit that. Police are on. Johnny hits the streets for an Easter quiz. Right back.
Got it.
This weekend was perfect. I mean, perfect. Americans spent time with our family, enjoying the warm weather, celebrating Easter. But for liberals, good weather meant something different. The Palestine movement. The Palestine movement that's going to shine light in this dark time. They said no to hopelessness, no to cynicism, no to nihilism, and to classic justice. One struggle, one fight. One struggle, one fight. In Maine, they, them in suspenders, sparkly heels, and a K95 called on the crowd to resist. If you like disappearing people on the street where you get in the way. If you are charged with endorsing any part of the president's unlawful executive orders, will you resist? sing along in sunflower hats.
Standing for democracy, we will not give up. Justice and equality, we will not give up. Just my country, that's planted by the wall. We will not give up.
Why are all these protests filled with they, them, old white ladies? If this is the face of the resistance, they're in trouble. And now that the weather is heating up, so is Tesla terrorism. Dylan Adams, who works for Tampon, was arrested for damaging several Teslas worth $20,000 in Minneapolis. In Brooklyn, a licensed mental health therapist dumped a bag of garbage on a parked soccer truck. She's a therapist. The bag included a brick with a swastika carved into it with the word Nazi. Not a therapist I'd hire. Maybe a different one. Then in Missouri, the FBI arrested a 19-year-old Boston college student for allegedly throwing a Molotov cocktail at a Tesla facility during spring break. And if you think they'll stop at trashing Teslas, think again. A PhD student at George Mason University published an article declaring open season on Trump and his whole team. If the present administration chooses this course, then the questions of the day can be settled not with legislation, but with blood and iron. In short, we must decide when we must kill them.
I bet you'll be ready to use that the second you get out the door.
Before we get to the crazy threats, Congresswoman, why do you think it is that these protests are packed with seemingly single female senior citizens and they-thems?
Well, what's more interesting, Jess, is that they're finding a lot of these protesters are also going to other protests, meaning that they're busing them in. But what's interesting is all these people singing and these people, these they-thems, they're all inclined to do this until, you actually leave these illegals to someplace like Martha's Vineyard, and then we all know how that ended.
Right. Then you have the Tampon staffer. Do you think, because they said Trump incited January 6th, even though he said march peacefully and patriotically, could you indict Tampon for inciting his staffer to go commit vandalism?
Well, frankly, right now, I do believe that the Justice Department needs to be aggressively pursuing all of these people that are knowingly breaking federal law and doing things that they know are undermining American people's agenda. What I will tell you, Jesse, is that, if we're talking on things like Detroit City mayors, for example, I did a criminal referral for some of these mayors to the Department of Justice, and we haven't heard anything back yet. So they need to get on it. It's frankly, I think the American people are tired. Tired of Congress saying that things need to happen and then honestly nothing happening.
Yeah, my governor in New Jersey, I believe, is under investigation for not cooperating with ICE, and he needs to. And that's not a threat because I'm just talking as a constituent and a political one. Why do you think these people seem so unhappy? It's a beautiful day, it's the weekend, they're spending some time with their families, how are they against people voicing their opinions, or marching from the right and wrong? That's America. But there just doesn't seem to be people who are grounded in a reality of a happy life.
And I'll tell you, Jesse, it seems like for the most part, a lot of these people are not religiously based. I can also tell you that this based on the rhetoric coming out of them, whether it's making calls for violence against, conservatives or Republicans that disagree with them, pushing things that would obviously emphasize big government over parental values, and obviously pushing for a very secular society and acknowledging that Jesus Christ and what he represents. I think that is a factor here, but what I would say, Jackie, at the end of the day, these people, I would say, have largely been programmed from legacy media that's really operated in the sense and really fear-mongering these people to understand that,